So we continue with our series of lectures on ideology of Pakistan. What is the ideology of Pakistan? Ideology of Pakistan is Islam. Ideology of Pakistan is Muslim separatism. Ideology of Pakistan is two nation theory. Ideology of Pakistan is democracy, Republic of Pakistan. So all these things include in the ideology of Pakistan. As we were tracing the history of the ideology, and we started from Muhammad bin Qasim, and then Mahmud Ghaznavi, and Mahmud Ghauri, and then Al-Tutmash, and Ghiyasuddin Balban, Alauddin Khilji, and Lodis, Sayyids, and Mughals, Suris. This whole scenario, when we study, so we come to the conclusion, and the conclusion is Pakistan, the creation of Pakistan. In the beginning, it was not very clear because still Aurangzeb Alamgir, the major Mughal emperor, Muslims were very dominant in Indian subcontinent, but later on their downfall started. And then for the downfall, there were two reactions. One was conservative, like Deoband, and the other was modern, and that was like Sir Syed Aligarh movement. And but still, the unity of India was there. And you will be astonished that even in 1946, cabinet mission, before that was Cripps mission, and then later on cabinet mission. In the cabinet mission also there was the option of United India in 1946. One of the questions which comes in CSS exams, that whether the partition of India and the creation of Pakistan, was that immature, was that very quick decision? Because this is really strange that on 3rd June 1947 you give the partition plan, and on 14-15 August Pakistan and India come into being. So this is alarming, and this is amazing that you announce the partition plan on 3rd June, and then just 1 June, July, 2.5 months, and then you have two new countries. So everything was done in hurry, and that's why Kashmir situation is still there, and Pakistan and India, they had a lot of disputes at that time, and till today the partition issues are not yet resolved. Kashmir is considered to be the unfinished agenda of the partition of India, because it was not properly demarcated, it was not properly discussed that which part will be Pakistan, which part will be not Pakistan, and but it was all in hurry because cabinet mission was for United India. Liaquat Ali Khan was the finance minister in cabinet mission, and this was a United India. But all of a sudden, then Pakistan and India both came into being as separate identities, as separate entities. Now, this whole story that we start from Muhammad bin Qasim, and it comes to Sheikh Ahmad Sarhindi and Shah Waliullah, and in different moments, and we have Sir Said Ahmad Khan, and this whole story that we have read many times. Two prominent figures that we have, one is Quaid-e-Azam and the other is Allama Iqbal. Allama Iqbal was a politician, he was a thinker, writer, and he was also a political activist. And in 1930, Allama Iqbal was the president of Muslim League, and he gave his address in Allahabad, where he said that Muslim contiguous areas should have uh, autonomy, because Muslim for him was a separate identity. Iqbal was an Indian nationalist in the beginning, as he famously said that Sari jihan se acha Hindustan hamara, hum bulbul hai iske, ye gulistan hamara. So for him, India was his nation, his country, his homeland. But later on, he was converted to Pan-Islamism. Pan-Islamism is that all Muslims, they belong to one ummah, one nation, and then he became Pan-Islamist. Pan, P-A-N, Pan-Islamism. Two people are famous for Pan-Islamism. One is Sayyid Jamaluddin Afghani, and the other is Allama Iqbal. So Iqbal and Jamaluddin Afghani, these two are pan-Islamists. Iqbal's position is very strange academically, because he was either talking about Hindustan, India, or about Islam. But he mentioned the western parts as contiguous parts, that they should have autonomy. Iqbal never gave any idea of a separate homeland, but he gave identity to Muslims as a separate entity. So this is his contribution in two-nation theory or ideology of Pakistan. Quaid-e-Azam was also a member of Congress, and he was not always for separatism. Even he accepted cabinet mission in 1946, and before at Cripps mission. But before Cripps mission, there was a resolution of Pakistan in Lahore. So in 1938 or 36, after that, when there was Indian Congress government, and they took some steps which were against the Muslim interests. So after that, Quaid-e-Azam was convinced that Muslims should have their own independent homeland. And the resolution of Pakistan, Lahore resolution, 23rd March 1940, that was a milestone that Muslims got a clear idea that they should have their homeland. Though the slogan for independent Pakistan was not so strong till 1946. After 1946, people have different theories that it was British conspiracy. Even Hindus, they wanted to get rid of this part of the Muslims where they were in majority, and they wanted to have their own India without Muslims, without the majority Muslim areas. And Gandhi also agreed with the partition of India. Because this is a reality that what we see today, Pakistan, it was always the same. There were some Hindus here who left this part and went to India, but Muslims were in majority in Sindh, Punjab, north-west frontier province, so Baluchistan. So in these parts, in Bangladesh, Bengal, Muslims were already in majority. British time, Mughal time, every time. So this is why what Iqbal mentioned, that these are Muslim majority areas, so they should have autonomy. So Quaid-e-Azam, because of some feudal lords, because of people like Liaquat Ali Khan and they wanted to have a separate identity for Muslims, political identity, and that's why they struggled for Pakistan. We have the statements of Quaid-e-Azam that Pakistan will be for Islam, it will be liberatory for Islam, and this is the two-nation theory, that Muslims and Hindus, they cannot live together. That's why they should have their separate homelands. Though we have secular statements also from Quaid-e-Azam once Pakistan came into being. This is why some intellectuals, and this is my personal opinion also, that two-nation theory and ideology, that was for that time. That was a slogan which was used. But once Pakistan came into being, then Quaid-e-Azam clearly announced that everyone is free to go to mosque or churches or temples, and state has nothing to do with your religion. This is a very clear statement of Quaid-e-Azam. Later on, people like Jamaat Islami and these people, they said that if we do not implement Islamic system, then why we got separation from Hindus? So Islam and state, it was always a vicious cycle. If you introduce religion in politics, so it brings a lot of problems. What we see Pakistan, extremism, terrorism, and theocracy, and the role of mullahs and clergy, and sectarianism, and Shia, Sunni, and Qadiani, and this and that. So many problems mixing religion with politics. But on the other hand, if you don't bring Islam, then why the partition of India? You divided India for the sake of Islam. So that's why you have to implement Islam now. So this is a cycle in which Pakistan is revolving for the last 76 years. Sometimes we have people like Ayub Khan, who was a secular person, and he introduced only Republic of Pakistan, not Islamic Republic. We also had Bhutto, who was a socialist, progressive, modern, secular type of person. But again, he was forced by Maulvis to include Islamic Republic of Pakistan. We had people like Ziaul Haq. Ziaul Haq was a thorough religious extremist, and he introduced religion everywhere. And again, we had Musharraf, who said that first Pakistan and enlightened moderation. He was not an extremist. And then we have Benazir Bhutto, People's Party, they are progressive people. Nawaz Sharif is center conservative, neither so Muslim nor so, neither so secular nor so religious. And we have Imran Khan, who was another combination, hybrid regime, who combined army and civilian together. And he also combined modern and religious slogans together. Young girls with open hair, black glasses would be dancing, and at the same time he will be talking about Medina state. So these are different colors and varieties that the politics of Pakistan is facing, and it is an interesting country to study. So we have the statements of Quaid-e-Azam and Allama Iqbal. You must remember these statements word by word. You have to learn them by heart so that you can quote them in your writing. And the creation of Pakistan, you already know the whole story. After 1857, when the independence war was fought, Muslims were convinced that they lost the power finally, and there is democracy now. And democracy is the name of majority, so they could not face majority of Hindus, and they were different from Hindus. They could not live together. They could live together when they were powerful, but without power, they could not live on equal basis with Hindus. That's why they consider the creation of Pakistan to be highly important. So this was the whole story. I have given you notes on all these topics. Please read those notes. Now, if you have any questions, so please ask. Do you have any question, any remark? Did you read the notes? प्लीज़ इस मंथ में आपने आइडियोलॉजी वाला पोर्शन मुकम्मल ख़त्म करना है. Allama Iqbal influences. First, he was a local Indian poet, and he was talking about India. सारे जहां से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा, हम बुलबुल है इसके गुलिस्तान हमारा. So he was a usual poet. Later on, he came under influence of some Maulvis, and then he started talking about Islam. And he went to Munich. He did his PhD on metaphysics of Persia. His topic of PhD was metaphysics of Persia. He met Goethe, and I think Goethe, and he also met Bergson. Bergson is a very famous philosopher from the school of thought of Intuitionism. And he also got in love with some German lady, and he was in love with Atiya, some other lady here also. He was a liberal kind of person. People say so many things about him. He was drinking wine, he was doing love affairs and stuff like that. It is all available on the social media and some books also. So he was a kind of progressive, and he wanted to reconstruct. He wrote a book, Reconstruction of Religious Thought in Islam. He wanted to reform things. Like, personally, I want to reform education. I want to do something to bring changes. So most of the people, they take the tool of religion, and that is their mistake, because religion is already complete. Al yawmu akmaltu lakum dinukum. Deen has been completed, so you cannot do anything in deen. What you can do, something you can do in science, you can do in philosophy, you can do in scholarly fields, you can do in sociology, political science, you can do in biology, physics, chemistry, because these things are not complete. But deen has been completed. If you have the Holy Quran, what is the need of writing another book on deen? There is no need. And why you will be reading some other book if the original words of God are available to you? But people, they misuse their energies and their time on religious discussions and stuff. So this happened to Iqbal also. Otherwise, he would be a great intellectual, and he would be an international personality. But he started talking first to India, then to all Muslims, and then he forgot the humanity, and he was just talking about Muslims and Islam. That was the influence of that time, because Ottoman Empire was crashed in 1924, and almost every country was under British or some other imperial powers. Only Iran was independent, Afghanistan was independent. Other country, Muslim country, every Muslim country that today we see, it was under control of British or others. So Muslims were in a very bad situation, that how we should get rid of it. So usually, this is human psychology, that if your family has problems and there is a history of your family, that your family was prosperous, so why your family was prosperous, you want to do those things again. But now the time is different. Now to earn money, you need a business. You don't need a lot of agricultural lands. But if your family had agricultural lands 200 years back, and you want to buy agricultural lands again to be rich, so this is not a good strategy. So Muslims were powerful, but that was 1300 years back, and the situation was different. And now you want to become powerful again with the same tool? That is not possible. But many people think it easy to go to past, to adopt the same past to become successful in the present. So this was Iqbal's biggest mistake, that he recommended past as a solution for the present problems. Does Pak study start from the pre-partition era or the post-partition era? Please listen to my first lecture. I think this is my third lecture. I explained this point in my first lecture, that there are two parts of Pakistan affairs: post-partition and pre-partition. In CSS, pre-partition is just 10-20%. 80% is post-partition. So in the pre-partition, you have to read the whole history with analysis, and in the post-partition, then we have Pakistan and its socio-economic political problems. And post-partition, 1947, post-partition Pakistan affairs is exactly current affairs. Current affairs syllabus, and after 1947, Pakistan affairs syllabus, that is the same. That is one and the same thing. Yes. When you write for humanity, then you can be intellectual. If you write for your tribe, for your religion, for your country, then you are not intellectual. You may be a writer, you may be a local person. That's why SPAL, my formula SPAL, double S double PAL, that is universal. I have not included a single thing which is local, national, or so that is universal. And for Kant, Kant, German philosopher, if something is not universal, it is not true. For truth, things must be universal. Otherwise, it is false. Though it is real, it does exist, but it is not true. So, universality is important. Ghani Khan had some very deep ideas, but again, he was influenced by religion and by mullah, and he talked so much about mullah that mullah became more famous after him. Although he was talking about, yesterday I was reading the story of a Hindu guru, that young boy, very famous nowadays. I forgot the name. So he was a very local kind of person. Nobody know him, but a secular person sued him. He took him to court that you are promoting superstitions and this and that. And from that, he became so famous that now everybody know him. Even Modi knows him, and everybody support him. So this sometime happens. That mullah was not so famous. Ghani Khan made him very famous because his every second verse is referred to mullah. So he has some deep ideas, but no originality, no universality. Talking about mullah, talking about Pashtuns, talking about this, that. So when you talk about humanity, then you are accepted at global level. Otherwise, you are not accepted, and this is a reality. If you praise Islam, 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 so only Muslims will love you. Why a non-Muslim should love you? But if you talk about human, 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 so every human will love you. The thing is real means that Pakistan is real, but it is universal, is saying. For example, I am Pashtun and I am a proud Pashtun, but being Pashtun is not universal. So this is a false identity. Somebody called me Pashtun, so by chance I am born in a Pashtun society. So this is not universal. I am a human being from human species, Homo sapien, or I am a universal entity. So that is true. To be Pashtun is not true. But it is real. It does exist. There are 70 million Pashtuns in the world, and everybody say that this is Pashtun, this is Pakistani, this is Muslim. But all these are made up. We have made it. Nature has not made it. What is not made by nature, that is not true. That may be real. That may people call it. But whether it should be or it should not be, that is another discussion. All other things are made by people. If you are a Christian, if you are a Hindu, so you have made it like that. If I am a Christian, I can be a Hindu. If I am a Hindu, I can be Christian. I can convert. But I cannot become a cat. I cannot become a buffalo. I cannot become a lion. Because that is not naturally possible. So to be a human being, it is my real identity. Because I cannot become a donkey, or I cannot become a ox or cow, a bakri, a cow, what is that? Goat. What were Iqbal and Qaid Azam motivations and justifications for educating a separate homeland for Muslims in British India? Moreover, why Rabindranath Tagore was ignored when talking about the passive ideas? And Rabindranath Tagore is not ignored. Humanity has given him Nobel Prize, and he is the most famous Indian Bengali subcontinental famous person, the most famous. He is loved in all corners of the world. So he was not ignored because he was for humanity. He is a real scholar. Qaid-e-Azam and Iqbal and their justifications, as I have given you in the notes and what I told you today, that Muslims and Hindus, they are different, they cannot live together, they have different cultures, they have different languages, they have different lifestyles. That's why. And in democracy, Muslims are in minority, so they should have their own majority provinces in the form of Pakistan. This is the other day I explained Einstein also, but I think that you did not attend the class. Einstein believes in the God of Spinoza, and the God of Spinoza is nature, जिसको हम कुदरत कहते हैं. कुदरत कुदरत को मंजूर हो गया, कुदरत की वजह से हो गया, बस कुदरत को मंजूर नहीं था. तो ये कुदरत क्या है? ये वहदतुल वजूद है, जो कल हमने शेख मुजद्दिद अल अफसानी के बारे में कहा था कि उसने वहदतुल वजूद की क्यों मुखालिफत की. क्योंकि वहदतुल वजूद जो है वो खुदा और खुदाई में फ़र्क नहीं करता, खालिक और मखलूक में फ़र्क नहीं करता. और वहदतुल शहूद जो है वो खालिक और मखलूक में फ़र्क करता है. So Einstein believed in nature, because who will not believe in nature? And for him, people call it God and other people call it nature. It is the same thing. जिस तरह हम कहते हैं ना, खुदा को मंजूर नहीं है, अल्लाह को मंजूर नहीं है, कुदरत को मंजूर नहीं है, तो हम भी उस चीज़ को बोलते हैं. लेकिन खुशाल खान खटक हैज़ यूज्ड अ लॉट ऑफ वर्सेस ऑन आसमान. वो आसमान उसको कहते हैं, आसमान को मंजूर नहीं था. So all this is related concepts. So Einstein did not believe in the God of Bible. He believed in the God of Spinoza. And the God of Spinoza is nature. I don't think that they were ignored. Shafi and Waqarul Mulk, they were involved in Muslim League formation. But I think they died. I don't remember exactly when these people died. Sayyid Amir Ali, I think The Spirit of Islam, who wrote, a very good scholar. I like that book. And he proved that there is no ordained priesthood in Islam. He proved that Prophet and all these people, they were not Maulvis. They were common people, tribal elders of that time, prestigious people. They were not Maulvis, what we have today. He totally rejected the concept of Maulvi in Islam. Sayyid Amir Ali in his book, The Spirit of Islam. It is in the CSA syllabus also. So, these people, I think they died. Ignore is not a good word. Nobody ignores no one. If you die or you become irrelevant or you become useless or less useful, so automatically you are sidelined. This is a pragmatic word. Practicality works here. So read their date of death, when they died. And there were also some differences in Muslims. For example, Punjab Unionist, they did not want partition. Maulvis, these Jamiat Ulama, Deoband, they did not want partition. Jamaat Islami was opposing Pakistan so much. So there were people, Abul Kalam Azad and all these people, they were not in the favor of partition of India. They were in the favor of Muslim rights, but not to divide India. So maybe if they were alive, so they were not in the favor of dividing India. If we talk about religion, race, and culture, that too were same even before the birth of Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. So, what factors led us to touch extreme of dividing United India? Actually, in the beginning, 1857, till 1857, still Bahadur Shah Zafar was there, and Muslims were still considered symbolically to be the rulers. And then Muslims became awake, and there were two reactions, Aligarh and Deoband mainly. And slowly and gradually, the differences came to surface. Hindus, being majority, they wanted their language, their culture, their religion to be implemented, and this is obvious, this is natural. So slowly and gradually, Muslim, they were alarmed that we will be not given our rights. And if you see, I did the whole Pakistan affairs paper from 14 points of Qaid-e-Azam. In the 14 points of Qaid-e-Azam, everything is mentioned. That is the summary of the whole Pakistan affairs. So Muslim separatist, separate electorates, Muslim special representation, division of Bengal, the opposition to that, and then this Sindh and Mumbai separation. So all these things were that Muslims, they were alarmed. They were not easy with the Hindu majorities. So that's why slowly and gradually the things started and it went towards the division of India. Ideology of Pakistan cannot be changed in the historic perspective, because what happened, that happened at that time. But now, please attend my previous lectures. I explained that if Hindus of sin, they say that we are a separate nation, two-nation theory, and we are not Muslims. So we want our own piece of land within Pakistan. So whether Pakistan will give them? No. If Baloch say, Balochistan, I am a separate nation. I have separate culture, and I have separate language, and I have separate beard style. I have separate dressing. So I want independent Balochistan. And then Punjabis and Pashtuns and all Sindhis, Sindhu Desh and these. So then Pakistan will be nowhere. If we still continue with two-nation theory, or it can be three-nation theory, or it can be five-nations theory. So now it is not implementable. Pakistan is now one nation state. There is no minority, there is no majority. Historically, it cannot be changed, but now you cannot implement it as such. This just tells us historically that how Pakistan came into being. Now Pakistan is a reality. It is the member of United Nations. So we cannot question the history, whether it is good or bad, but it happened. And now Pakistan is a registered member of United Nations. So you cannot undo the history, but you cannot continue with the history. At that time, the situation was different. Today, the situation is different. We are all now equal Pakistani citizens. So Abdul Ghaffar make an interrogative sentence. Has ideology of Pakistan become a problem for minorities in the country? ये सिर्फ सवालिया निशान लगाने से सवाल नहीं बनता, उसका पूरा स्ट्रक्चर जो है प्रोफेशनल आपको चेंज करना पड़ेगा. ये पाकिस्तान में बड़ी लेजी आदत है कि जी सवालिया निशान लगाओ तो सवालिया वो बन गया. नहीं, सवालिया जुमला और गैर सवालिया जुमले के अपना स्ट्रक्चर होता है. प्रोफेशनल लोग उसको बाकायदा सवाल बना के देते हैं. वैसे अगर आप सवालिया निशान लगाओगे तो सवाल तो नजर आता है, लेकिन प्रोफेशनल तरीका ही नहीं है. So it is a problem not only for minorities but even for Muslims. मुस्लिम्स के लिए भी प्रॉब्लम है कि भाई हम क्या करें, हम हर चीज में मजहब को घुसाए. और मौलवी को हम वज़ीर आज़म भी बनाए, वो वज़ीर भी बने, वो बैंक में भी चलाए, और इस्लामी मालियाती सिस्टम हम ले आए, और सारा सब कुछ, और जो कल्चर है ख़त्म, म्यूज़िक ख़त्म, सबके बड़ी बड़ी दाढ़ियाँ, तालिबान टाइप गवर्नमेंट आ जाए, तो क्या वो इस्लामी हुकूमत होगी? तो ये खुद पूरी पाकिस्तान के लिए एक मसला है कि हम इसका अब क्या करें। अगर आप मज़हब को निकालते हैं तो फिर वो कहते हैं कि आपने फिर इंडिया से अलहदगी क्यों की, इंडिया को क्यों डिवाइड किया। और अगर आप मज़हब के साथ चलते हैं तो इसके अपने मसाइल है, फिर शिया इस्लाम है कि सुन्नी है कि हनफी है कि शाफी है, तो हम कहाँ जाए, फिर बाकी लोग तो बस बाढ़ में जाए। जिस तरह के सही इस्लामी हुकूमत जो है वो अफगानिस्तान में है, क्योंकि हर बंदा, वज़ीर ख़ारजा, वज़ीर दाखिला, वज़ीर जो भी है, वो सारे मौलवी है और मौलवी सिस्टम को चला रहे हैं। बाकी लोगों का उधर कोई ज़रूरत भी नहीं है और ना वो चला सकते हैं उस सिस्टम को। तो क्या आप इस तरह के सिस्टम के लिए तैयार है? तो ये प्रॉब्लम जो है वो माइनॉरिटीज़ के लिए भी है और मेजॉरिटी के लिए भी है। Right of referendum to whom? If you talk about Kashmiris, yes, because that is our foreign policy, that is our national interest. National interest is based on realism, not on morality. Idealism is based on morality. तो अगर आप कश्मीरियों की बात कर रहे हैं फिर ठीक है, लेकिन अगर बलोच, सिंधी, पश्तूनों की बात करते फिर नहीं, ये रियलिज्म के खिलाफ है। अखलाकी बातें अपनी जगह पे, अखलाकी जो है वो आइडियलिज्म में चलते हैं, रियलिज्म में कोई अखलाक नहीं है। फ़लस्तीन की बात करो लेकिन चीन के मुसलमानों की बात ना करो, ये रियलिज्म है। इज इट ड्यू टू रिलीजन, डज इट ड्यू टू रिलीजन नहीं, इज इट ड्यू टू रिलीजन। ये सवालिया निशान, सवालिया जुमले बनाना सीखे, इंटरोगेटिव सेंटेंसेस कि वो कैसे बनते हैं। सो इज इट ड्यू टू रिलीजन दैट पाकिस्तानीज आर is a confused nation. Pakistanis are a confused nation, is a confused nation. Religion is one of the important factor, very important factor, because religion is the most dominant factor. Other reasons are lack of proper education, no science, no philosophy, no critical thinking. If we talk about Maulvis, yes, they are responsible. But even primary school teachers and secondary school teachers, they are also not performing their duties. We have so many problems. Yes, populism is a big problem, a big challenge. In India, Hindutva, in United States, Trump, right, Christian supremacy. In Pakistan, we have our own Sunni Deobandi supremacy, and Tablighis. They are very dominant. They don't allow others, Barelvis and Shias and these. And in many countries, populism is now rising, and this is dangerous. It is like Hitler, Nazism, and Mussolini, fascism in Italy. So great discussion, guys. Please read the notes. Be ready for examination.